Welcome to our video on the beginning of winter. The winter solstice is beginning in the northern hemisphere on the 21st of December 2021. This event will be occurring in the sign of Capricorn the goat. And the sun in Capricorn bestows qualities of having a sure-footed way and an ability to really climb up the social ladder of success. Also, to put a great amount of fidelity and commitment into their relationships. Also together mutually with their spouses or their partners, like their business partners or their romantic partners or spouses. And also a plentiful measure of, again, fidelity. It's all about fidelity when you're calling upon Capricorn. It's very important to them, and it's seasoned with a good amount of emotional distance that they put between the heart and the other person, so that they can mask their tender feelings in their heart. They want to mask those feelings so that people don't know that they're vulnerable. Okay, so that's the energy that comes into play during this winter solstice 2021, when the sun will be entering into Capricorn the goat. So that's what's activated. That's the energy that's activated. Now, when the sun does ingress into this sign, it's on the 21st this year. It's going to happen at 3:59 p.m. It's 3:59 p.m. We're using universal time coordinated, and we're using tropical astrology. Now, a winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, occurs in the northern hemisphere, in the northern portion, when the northern portion is inclined or tilted away from the sun. Okay, it inclines away from the sun. So the Earth's northern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun, and that's at the farthest angle possible. Okay, and that's when you get winter. And at that point, at this event, that's when you have a nighttime that is the longest night and the shortest day. So the day will be very short. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. I'm a Rosicrucian seer, biblical astrologer, Christian psychic, and Gnostic mystic. And this is a Readings by Rosemary angelic transmission. Now we're going to take a look at the planetary formula for this event, as we're also going to take a look at the planetary archangels for you and the zodiac angels involved. And we're going to show you how to invoke, that's calling into yourself the angelic force into your being, or to invoke it into your sacred circle, your magical space. And also you can evoke, means to call upon, to call upon them and get their attention, and get them to assist with their beneficial assistance. And this is going to be for the purpose, obviously, of gathering the angelic frequencies together, either within yourself, within your sacred space, or your magical circle, or to just call upon the angelic frequencies that most attune with you, and the ones we're going to give you specifically for this event. And that's going to be for the purpose of being able to utilize these angelic frequencies, which you can align with, so that you can use it for your angelic magic during this event. All right. Okay. Now, at the very moment of the start of winter, at the moment of the winter solstice, when the sun does enter into the sign of Capricorn, the ingress will activate the sign of the goat. It'll activate it, which is analogous and akin to the natural 10th house of social standing and fame. So the natural houses are when you have Aries in the first house. So not all charts have that, obviously. But that's how, generally speaking, it's going to activate the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th house, 10th natural house, generally speaking, of social standing and fame. So those are the issues that are going to be really loosened and activated, and those are the frequencies that you can work with, and you can use the angelic frequencies either of your own that you prefer, or the ones we're going to give you. And the ones we're going to give you are based on some of the teachings from both the Christian and the Jewish Kabbalah. All right, now the sun in Capricorn. The sun in Capricorn, what kind of qualities will this also stir up. The sun in Capricorn, the goat likes to keep things as they are. And the goat likes to resist alterations in their lives. They don't want all of this, all of these alternative this and alternative that. They want to keep things as they are. That doesn't mean that the person's not alternative in their thinking, but if they are alternative, they're not going to want to change it to a different form of being alternative. They've chosen a certain way of life, whether it's traditional or conventional or alternative, whatever they've chosen, and they're going to want to stay with that. So just because someone has a quote-unquote alternative lifestyle, that doesn't mean that they'd like change. That doesn't mean they're going to want to change that to something else. It means they're going to want to hang on to whatever it is they've already taken as their lifestyle or their stance or their belief system, whatever that may be, whether it's a political system or a spiritual system. They're going to want to keep it the same. Now, Capricorn natives can be very compulsive, okay? And also, this is especially true when it comes to their career and their status in their chosen fields, and also or in their community. Now, they are not, again, they're not going to be interested in changing their community, and they're not going to be interested in changing their careers or their partners or their spouses. Now, they are most comfortable, Capricorn, when this is Sun in Capricorn, when they can take securely balanced steps to achieve their objectives. They want to know where their next step is. They don't mind taking a step at a time. They don't have to rush it. They would prefer to take it one step at a time. And they like those steps to be sure-footed, and they like those steps to be balanced, and they like those steps to be something that will be something that for sure will get them to their goals, to their objectives, to their aspirations, what they've aimed at, what they want to get to. And usually it's career, social status, and clout, those sort of issues. Now, the planetary archangel for the sun is, or soul, called soul for Latin, and the sun for English, and it's Michael, the Archangel Michael. He's the warrior and the champion of God. So this is the mighty Archangel Michael. Now, in this particular statue, he's standing on a cloud. He's not standing on a dragon. He's standing on a cloud with his sword. He's the warrior that will, the soldier that will fight for whatever you believe is right. Remember, whatever you believe is right is what's right. It's not what somebody else thinks is right. It's what you think is right. It's not what you've been told is right or other people teach you is right. It's what you've come to believe, know, or know. Knowing is better. That what you know to be true for you. Okay. Now, when you have Michael battling a dragon or a serpent or the devil, or it's actually like Perseus and Calipus in the Greek tragedy. It's the same thing. That's why they show Michael as being very handsome, and the demon is not being so handsome or having horns or being some kind of a monster or more animal-like, more bestial, yeah, more of a beast. Okay, so when Michael is fighting a dragon, that is going to separate lovers. This one won't, because there's no dragon there that he's separating. He's just ready to do battle with whatever he doesn't think belongs in your circle, in your magical circle, or whatever you think doesn't belong in your magical circle, because everybody has their own Archangel Michael and their own Archangel Gabriel and their own Archangel Uriel and their own Archangel Raphael in their own sphere, in their own magical sphere. So there's a general one for the entire universe, and then there is one for each person as well, since each one of us is a microcosm of the macrocosm. Each one of us is a microcosm, so we each have our own, reach a universe, our own Archangel Michael, who rules over all of the fire signs, and also is the archangel associated with the ancient planet of the sun. The sun was considered a planet, as was the moon in ancient times, because planet means wanderer. All right? So when there's a dragon that's being killed, or a serpent, or something like that, or a devil, that's when sexual lust, sexuality, and the procreative urge is killed. The kundalini is killed. So if you're into raising your kundalini and you're running around with statues of Michael killing a dragon, you're defeating your purpose. You have to use the right tool at the right time for the right job. All right? If you really want to suppress that energy because you need to do something else with that energy, or it's causing destruction in your life, then you use a statue or a picture or an image of the Archangel Michael or Michael battling a dragon or a devil or a serpent. If you want to push that serpent down. If you want the Kundalini to rise up and activate the pineal gland or activate the higher centers of your brain, then you need to let it up, and you need to not be killing a dragon with your statue or your photo or your image. You need to be allowing the dragon to live and to rise. So you need to understand the purpose, which is oftentimes why you also see Mother Mary standing on a serpent. It's the same thing. If you're using that and you're trying to raise your kundalini, you're going to have a difficult time. It also can break up, again, lovers. It can break up love relationships. It will squelch the feeling of eroticism. It will squelch the sexual tendencies. It will squelch that. And if a married couple is wondering why they don't feel that way about each other anymore, it might be because they're having their Michael killing a dragon. Okay? So understand what you're doing. And if there's one day a week when you want to squelch that energy, fine. But don't do it every day if you're married and you want to have a normal relationship, or if you want to procreate. Right tool, right time, right job. Don't just blanket everything, because that's just lazy thinking and it's lazy magic, and it doesn't do you any good. And it'll defeat the purpose. All right. Okay, so that's the explanation for that. Also, for the Archangel Michael, we have this is for the celestial coordinates in a magical circle when you're using a hexagram instead of a pentagram, because you're dealing with the celestial area. You're still dealing with the fixed signs of the Zodiac, and Michael represents the south and the hot, dry winds of the south, and represents Leo, the constellation of Leo. Okay, so that's fire. All right, and that's going to be that's only in the south. Excuse me, it's only in the south if you're using pentagrams, if you're on the earth. It's not going to be in the south if you're doing the celestial coordinates. Okay. Now, in that case, I believe it begins in the east, I think. I'll have to recheck. It's been a while since I did that, but I think, offhand, off the top of my head, I think it's I think fire goes in the east for the celestial coordinates, but I'm not completely sure about that. I have to double check, because I haven't done that for a while. But on the earth, in the earth coordinates, when using pentagrams, it's in the south. But I believe it's in the east when you're doing celestial coordinates, but I'll double check for you. All right. Now, the Zodiac Angel for Capricorn is Hanael, whose divine tone is I use, Hanael. So that's every sign has a divine tone. And there is a 13th tone, which I'm going to do a video about. It's the one that represents for the sun in the center. And remember, everything has a polar opposite in the physical reality. Okay? Not in spiritual reality, it does not have, everything's one. But in this physical reality, every time you have an I use, you're going to have an I do not use, because if you don't have both, it can't exist. You can't have, night without day, because you wouldn't have anything to, you can't write on a piece of paper, a white piece of paper with a white pen. You won't see anything. You have to use a black pen or a blue pen or a red pen on a white piece of paper, and then you can see it. So you understand what I'm saying. The amount of energy and power that you will have in something that you want to happen will be the same that will be there. You'll have its polar opposite where you have that much need. So in order to have a bigger amount of water, you have to have a bigger glass, a bigger empty container. So if you don't have an empty container that's that big, you won't be able to get that much water. It's like that. So a person that has a lot of, say somebody has a lot of different houses or something, they need it that much. You're seeing their need. So that you might wonder why sometimes very wealthy people act very desperate, because they have that much need, or they wouldn't have that much wealth. So they feel that way all the time. When some people, relying upon how you feel about things and your priorities, some people might feel they got too much with very little, and some people might feel very, very desperate when they have a lot because of that. So it's not always the way it seems. Now, regarding the tarot cards, the tarot card for the sun or soul is, of course, the sun card. The sun card. And obviously it represents, you see the child sitting on the white horse with the sun in the background and the sunflowers, and has that yellow and orange flag. Those are two of the colors. I believe orange will project for the sun, and yellow will receive for the sun. I believe that's the way it is. I'll double check that too. Okay. The musical note and the ancient Western array for the sun is C. And so I'm going to play that for you now. So the musical note, the healing note for the tarot card of the sun and for the sun itself, then will correspond with Michael, the Archangel Michael. That is for the sun. Now the tarot card for Capricorn is the devil. That's the 15th of the major arcana, and that is for the sign of Capricorn, the goat, because it's got the Baphomet, the horned god. And you see it's sort of like in the Garden of Eden, you've got the angel, and then you've got Adam and Eve, and those are like the two different trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You've got one that's, in the Lover's card, where you have it with an angel instead of the devil, but you still have the two aspects, the spiritual aspect for the male and the more earthly aspect for the female. You've got her with grapes and him with fire. So the devil's lighting his tail with fire, and the devil, and she's actually just tending to her grapes. She's tending to her orchard, her vineyard, her grape vineyard. Okay? So the devil's an interesting card, because remember, the devil card if you get it in a tarot reading, and if you're asking a question that's spiritual, then it shows that the person is not being that spiritual. The person is more worldly and more materialistic. Doesn't mean it's not a judgment, it's just what it is. And by nature, a Capricorn is going to be more interested, because it's an earth sign, it's going to be more interested in earthly things or worldly things than someone who's an air or a fire sign, for example. Because fire signs are a lot into spiritual things and more exciting things, whereas an air sign is more into cerebral things and intelligence. And of course, water signs are more into the emotional part of life. But it also depends on if it's their moon. Like some people say that, their boyfriend or their girlfriend or their husband or their wife is this sign or that sign. That's their sun sign. That's not, and if they're talking about emotional relationship, you really want to know their moon sign. It's more important. Well, not more important, but it's the lion's share of importance would be the moon sign if you're talking about their emotions and how they react emotionally. If you want to know what they're feeling, you got to know their moon sign. Very important. Now, the musical note in the ancient Western array for Capricorn is G. I'm going to play G major for you now. G. Okay, so those are the healing notes and the cards, the tarot cards you can associate. Oh, and I was going to say, yes, the devil in a spiritual question means they're more worldly. The devil in a question that's about, say, your health, not necessarily bad, because it can show physical strength that's needed. The devil can give you strength as long as you're disciplined about it. Yes, it can show addiction, but it's you might like better to be addicted to maybe exercise as long as you're not hurting yourself, if that makes any sense. So yeah, there can be an addiction, but make your addiction into more of a ritual so that you can then have it be healthy. Okay, you don't want to injure yourself. You want to keep yourself healthy, but the devil can give a lot of vehemence and physical power that you often need. It's cardinal fire. It's like a volcano. Okay, it's cardinal fire. Nothing wrong with that. Now, for a question in health, oh yeah, that's not what I just said. There's another one. Oh, love. Yeah, in a love question, it's more about deceit, not being told the truth. Because the devil doesn't always lie, but might lie. But there's the magician card will manipulate too, because there's a lot of intelligence in the magician card. Okay, I just brought that up just as an example, not that the magician card is relevant at this moment. Okay, now the information that I presented in this video and that's in the attached document that you can click on in the description box is based on the oral tradition known as Kabbalah, taught to me by Rosicrucian clergy when I was but a young girl, the facts of which I've committed to memory, and maybe this time I wasn't sure about some of those 2 points, so I better brush up on it. Okay, thank you for joining us, and join us again next time.